homeless drug addict. My name is Derek Day. I'm 30 years old, and this is my testimony of what I've been up to the past decade, and this is what God is doing in my life now. So growing up, I was definitely saved, but I literally decided, and everything in my body told me not to do it, decided to walk away from God. I would lie to myself thinking that I must think there's a God because that's what my parents told me. And even though something in me knew that didn't feel right, that didn't seem right, that what I just said wasn't right, but I would just and it sounds bad, but I purposely callous myself until God I felt no conviction from God, till I didn't have to feel bad, because my whole life I've been always following my feelings. I feel this way, so I'm gonna do this. I feel that way, so I'm gonna go try that. I feel this way, so I'm just gonna, use substances or people or whatever it may be, always being led and chasing my feelings around. How do I put this? So I started experiencing homelessness, living out of my car. Then within a few years, I was addicted to drugs and completely living on the street. I was in and out of shelters. I mostly lived outside. I would walk the streets at night, use drugs to stay awake, and then during the day, I would go into gas station bathrooms, sleep, and that's how I'd get warm in the winter. And then I would just carry on and move on to the next place. I was sleeping in tents, hanging out with other homeless drug addicts, and just other people that were not living correctly. And I was starting to get in trouble. I was in and out of jail several times. And then after like maybe 8 or 9 times of being in jail, I prayed to God that I knew something needed to happen, needed to change, obviously. And I kind of made, a vow to him that I would serve him if not only out of jail, but just if he could take that addiction away from me. Because I literally knew it was impossible for me to not use drugs, alcohol, some substance of any kind without him intervening into my life. And literally I told him, I said, you'd have to take this or help me fight it, because I don't know how else to do it. And literally starting then, it was a process of healing, getting better. I started seeing God move in my life. He started to heal me from what the world would call mental illness. I've been diagnosed every mental health illness pretty much that there is, for the most part, at least a lot of the big major ones: bipolar, schizoaffective disorder, anxiety, ADHD, and just on and on and on, depression. And I had the symptoms of that, but I also was living in a life of sin through many areas of my life. But I saw God start to heal that, and it was the only time that he actually did start taking that feeling away from me of wanting to always have something. I felt him and saw him working in my life very quickly, and through a lot of the delusional thoughts that I had over the years, they started to clear up, supernaturally being healed. And it was a very intense time in my life, because I now had a decision to make. Is it time to move forward with God, or am I gonna run back? And I knew what both meant. I didn't know necessarily what my future with God would hold, but I knew it had to have been better than the life I was living. And over that course of that time, I ended up in Teen Challenge. The first couple months were horrible. I tried any way I could to get out of it. But I knew I couldn't leave. I knew I was running out of options. So I started to learn what it meant to fully surrender to God. I just really started to realize that I have to rely on him, and it's not anything I can do in my own strength. I couldn't fix myself. I couldn't heal myself. I couldn't help myself in any way, but to just learn to walk in obedience to him. Somehow, by the grace of God and his goodness, his love just carried me through and brought me to a better place, where I could really learn his character and who God was. I began to understand his love for people, and it gave me a chance to really start to learn to hear his voice, so I could differentiate between the world and my own thoughts and what was from God. Last October, October 3rd, I graduated that program, and during that time, I dedicated my life back to Christ. I was baptized again. I made the decision to do that as an adult this time on my own. And yeah, so I started just really seeking after him while I was in there. And I told myself that I'm going to go even harder when I get out. I'm going to really see him and understand him for who he is, not who I thought he was, in my own mind, my own perspective. And he's changed my life. He's saved me, obviously. He saved me from a lot of strongholds in my life that were holding me back. Homelessness, just full of fear, laziness, just no discipline, no structure in my life. And it was very humbling, but so was living for the enemy. It was very humbling too, because that brought me into a very dark, embarrassing, very scary place, full of evil. And it got worse and worse and worse. But just knowing that God still loves me and can do something with my life, and I know he's done it for lots of other people, and he can do it for anybody who's willing to give their life over to him and die to their old self and start living for him. I'm starting to see him move in my life and people around me, and it's truly amazing. Something I never thought would happen. I knew it could, but I always just felt like it was for everyone else. So yeah, without Christ, I am not a good person, and it sounds harsh to tell other people that you're not a naturally good person without Christ, and it's God's goodness that you're seeing through somebody. And for me, that was hard to admit that. But the more I spend time here in my own life seeking after him, I'm realizing how much more I want it. It makes, when I go and get fed at church, or I get fed from encouragement from somebody else, I get all, excited, and just spending more time with God, I get hungrier. I want more of God, and I learn to love his people and community better by spending that time with them. Because if I don't understand God, who is love, then I don't understand love, and I can't understand loving other people, even myself. I did have to hit rock bottom a few times, more than a few times. I know that I'm not going back. I feel it. I sense it. I know that. But I've always wondered, how would I prove that to someone? And I realized I don't have to prove it to anyone. I just have to prove it by living my life the way that God wants me to live, and they'll just watch it happen over time, because that's the only way anyone would ever know. I know that I'm going to stick close to God. And if I'm close with him, I won't be going back. I just started painting. I'm learning to be a painter, and I really like it. And there was some stuff that was used that I don't think it's used a whole lot, but whatever Brian was using that day, a lot, the scent of it after a while, I realized, oh, this smells like meth, to be honest. Like when you're melting down ice in a bubble, it smells very similar to that drug. And I was kind of confused from it, because I'm like, I know this smell. It was a little different, but it was close. I'm like, why am I smelling this right now? And to me, it smelled so bad. It used to smell good to me and taste good. And it doesn't taste good or smell good, but when you're on drugs, you're not thinking straight. So now that I'm sober and I smell it, and I'm looking outside, I see a deer outside. It's nice and sunny. I'm making money. I'm happy. I'm in the community. I'm talking to people. I just in that moment, I realized how good God is. And that little test, how with him and his strength, how strong I am, to not even consider wanting to go back, literally hating it. And to me, I make that connection in my mind that as you start growing with God more and more, no matter where you're at, because we're all somewhere, but we're all hopefully still growing closer with him and becoming more like him and less like our sin nature. It's cool because you start to hate sin. And if I love God, I'm realizing over time, growing closer to him, that I'm hating those other things. And because of that, also, I'm loving him more. So it's just like less of us and more of him. It's less of that worldly stuff and more of him. The answer is always more Christ. A lot of things in life we all know catch up with you later on. And then you got a real problem. So